Monday, June 3rd, everyone, and in today's weather forecast, we're going to be talking about active weather through the month of June as we get closer to Father's Day weekend with severe weather and heat building across portions of the country. And before we get to the video, I did want to note that we did produce our June forecast for 2024, so if you want to check that out, review of May of 2024 is a very active month. We'll review that in that video. Climate update, weekly temperature, precipitation trends, June severe weather forecast, the June tropical weather forecast. Lots of great tidbits in that video. Make sure to go check it out. It is in the link down below to the description of the video. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel here at Weather on the Go, because looking forward through 2024, we will continue to do those monthly forecasts, seasonal forecasts, and daily weather forecasts on this channel. So make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. We cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Be sure to press the like button down below as well, and also leave any comments, questions, and concerns down below. I will get to those after the video. So with all that out of the way, let's look at yesterday. It was a very busy day across the plains. We had a lot of severe weather from the Dakotas all the way south to Texas. Again, yes, the Lone Star State did see more severe weather, including the Texas Panhandle, with some very nice picturesque tornadoes yesterday in and around the Amarillo region there in rural areas. We had 9 tornado reports yesterday. Again, some of those were in the Dakotas, and including South Dakota, North Dakota. But the Texas Panhandle, and even down here in West Texas, we saw a tornado as well. In the blue, wind reports. In the green, those are hail reports. So we saw a lot of severe weather reports yesterday, up to 159 total reports. Let's look here at the big picture. Let's zoom things out here and look at North America and show you what's actually happening this morning. We have a trough up here into portions of Alaska and the Aleutian Islands, and also another kind of trough moving and kind of elongating off of that into western Canada. And then we have a little bit of a weak ridge down here in California this morning that's bringing some heat across those areas. Now, as we go into Tuesday morning, notice this negatively tilted trough over here from the Canadian prairies all the way down into the high plains, and this is going to lead to more severe weather in the middle of the country as we go into Tuesday. Note, though, the ridge of high pressure strengthening here in the wake of that across the west coast, and look at that high pressure start to really strengthen by Wednesday morning. The heat will be on out west, so if you live in California, if you live in Oregon, Nevada, the Four Corners region, get ready, because heat, and excessive heat at that, will be on the way by the middle of this week. And there's that trough negatively tilted on Wednesday across the Canadian prairies. So let's look at this here for today. The day one outlook from the Storm Prediction Center paints a picture of 2 areas of concern for greater severe threats here across portions of southern and central Wisconsin into northwest Illinois, and a very small portion of eastern Iowa near the Mississippi River, and then a larger slight risk down here across portions of the southern plains, Oklahoma into Texas, and into southern Missouri here, Arkansas, getting into northern Louisiana and western Mississippi. That's an area of greater concern as well. So looking at the hazards these storms could pose, we could be seeing those damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour, especially if you were highlighted in these brown or even yellow shaded colors. We also have a threat for hail, a secondary area up there toward portions of the western Great Lakes, especially for southern and central Wisconsin, northwest Illinois, far eastern Iowa, but a significant hail threat down here near the Red River Valley, the eastern Texas Panhandle, southwest Oklahoma into northwest Texas, areas like Lawton, Oklahoma, down there toward Wichita Falls, Texas. We could be seeing hailstones over 2 inches in diameter today, and a little bit greater of a tornado threat in that area we were just speaking about with the hail, of a 5% chance of a tornado around the Wichita Falls region in Texas later today, even a 2% area up here into places like Madison, near Milwaukee, and Rockford, Illinois. We'll keep a close eye on that. Let's look at the setup. Why are we seeing the severe weather? We always show that on this channel so you understand why we see the storms. You can see dew point temperatures will be well into the 60s, not only for the southern plains, but all the way up there in the upper Midwest. So that will help drive some of that moisture northward for some severe weather. Look at the dew points down here into the Red River Valley. We've had a lot of rain lately. The Dallas-Fort Worth area, mid to upper 70s dew points. That creeps up northward into southern Oklahoma as well. And that's actually going to help fuel our severe weather down here in this area. And I definitely think that we could see some extreme instability values over 5,000 joules per kilogram, folks. That is on the high end of the scale here. Still some instability up in the Midwest, so our friends in eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and northwest Illinois still have 1,000, 2,000 joules per kilogram of instability to work with, but notice it's not on the higher end of the scale like we see in Texas, but it is enough for severe weather. So let's look here at what the radar could look like. This is a simulation. Remember, don't take this verbatim, but this does show you the idea of what the atmosphere could produce later today. Late this morning, we got a cluster of showers and storms moving through the Oklahoma City metro up here toward Tulsa. These could be severe, some hail producers, some wind producers, and an isolated tornado threat. As we go into the afternoon, notice this model in particular, the HRRR model, is actually showing a backward C shape here. And when you see that, that may produce more strong winds over 60, maybe even over 70 miles per hour. We'll keep a very close eye on that. More storms down here in East Texas, near Tyler, Texas, over here toward Lake Charles, Louisiana, and then an area of storms, isolated coverage from southwest and southern Wisconsin into northeastern Iowa. So from around the Platteville area over here towards portions of Madison, we'll be keeping a close eye on that this afternoon. Going into the evening, now a very interesting picture here. We have a complex of storms weakening as it moves toward the Arklamis region into Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. That will drop out an outflow boundary, and what this does is actually lead to more storm formation on that outflow boundary, because what happens is you have the rain cooled air, and then ahead of that outflow boundary you have the unstable, destabilizing air across portions of East Texas. And a lot of times with these outflow boundaries, they drop a little bit further south than a lot of the models show. So I think storms will initiate in southwest Oklahoma near the Red River, and they will have a tendency to drop more southeast, possibly a little bit further south than this model shows. I think the Dallas-Fort Worth area could be seeing the leading edge of a pretty strong storm complex as we go into early Tuesday morning. That will stretch over there toward Texarkana and possibly the Shreveport area early Tuesday morning. Also, with these areas, with training storm complexes, comes the threat for heavy rain. Here we see across Oklahoma, especially eastern side of the state there, into East Texas, into Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, maybe even western Tennessee. You can see a lot of these areas with those blues and those lighter blues and purples. That's at least 1.5 to 2 inches worth of rain, and that is just within the next 6 to 12 hours. So there is a large flash flooding threat here across the Mississippi Valley, and we have a slight risk up here in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois. We have a slight risk back here in Idaho as well with some more rain showers there, but our main storm complexes across portions of the south will be giving us a slight risk for flash flooding here as we go through the Tuesday morning commute. Now, as we go into Tuesday, remember, negatively tilted trough will bring more severe weather. This is a lower end day for severe weather. Now, I do see this potentially getting expanded, the slight risk that is, across portions of the Midwest. I do not foresee this being a huge severe weather event, though. And then as we go into Wednesday, this starts to calm down a little bit as the low pressure system and the dynamics are really far displaced further north into Canada and the Canadian prairies and away from the United States, so not too worried about Wednesday. So let's look here at Tuesday. There's a low pressure system, 990 millibar low up there in Saskatchewan. You got the trailing cold front down here into the Midwest. We have a lot of warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico streaming northward here, and you can see this could lead to a couple of storm complexes from the Ozarks region in Missouri, parts of the Midwest here, and these will fizzle out. As soon as the sun goes down, these will start to fizzle out here from west to east. The further east they will move away from the instability, so they will weaken. And as we go into Wednesday, notice how far north and displaced the low pressure system is from the main forcing from the cold front. You can see 985 millibars up here in northwestern Manitoba. While that's a very strong low pressure system, Look at how far it is away from the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, the eastern U.S. So I think just your normal everyday garden variety thunderstorms, while I can't rule out maybe a marginal risk as we get closer to this day, I really don't foresee Wednesday being that big of a deal. And then as we go into Thursday, you can see that low pressure system drops in across southeastern Canada. We have a little bit more storm activity, very gray, very rainy over here in the Northeast on Thursday and Friday as well. So I know it's been very active in the Northeast with gray skies and a lot of rain this season. Hold in there, folks. I know we're going to see a lot more of that, but things will be changing as we get into later on in June. Here's the rainfall totals going through Friday night here through June 7th, and you can see where the most active areas will be. Up near the low pressure storm track in southern Canada, Saskatchewan, Alberta, or Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. Over here into southern Quebec, and then over here into portions of the Great Lakes, Midwest, down here into the Mid-South. The heaviest in the United States will actually be down here in the mid-Mississippi Valley and Mid-South and over toward the Tennessee Valley. Those areas could be seeing several inches of accumulating rain. What happens to the weather pattern this weekend? Well, that trough, as it elongates from Canada all the way from like literally central Canada into the northeast, we're going to see a lot of cooler air out here across the east and unsettled weather, while a big ridge across the western U.S. will fuel our excessive heat into places like California, Oregon, Washington State, Idaho, Nevada. A lot of the western states will be getting pretty hot as we go into the weekend. As we go into early next week, we have a lot happening here. We got a pretty strong trough in the northeast, a little trough developing here in the southern Canadian prairies, another trough outside of California here, and a little bit of an elongation of that trough across the south, and then a little ridge out west. We said a lot there. Basically what this means is next week's weather pattern is going to be very messy. So what that means is you could see days of sunshine, you could see days of cloudy skies, you could see days of showers and storms. It's just going to be very messy weather pattern as we go into early next week. Speaking of next week, let's look here at the weekend. Saturday, June 8th, all the way through the middle of the following week, Wednesday, June 12th. As we're getting ever closer to Father's Day weekend, you can see a trough across portions of the east will lead to more cooler temperatures than normal. Now, when you see blue on the map, again, that does not mean that we're going to see temperatures that are 20 degrees below zero, okay? This is June, actually, folks. This isn't January and February, but you can see that if your normal high is 85 degrees Fahrenheit, for example, and you're 84 degrees, that is below normal. So it really doesn't mean you're going to see cold weather, just means cooler than normal. And then out west, yes, in June, when it's warmer than normal, it will be warmer than normal. So if you see above average temperatures in Arizona, you can bet you can see triple digits. If you see that in California, you bet you can see triple digits as we go in toward the middle of June. Very active it'll be as well. I think the northern branch of the jet stream will actually be pretty inactive, so areas in the upper Midwest will start to dry out a little bit. Very active here in the Pacific Southwest, the Four Corners region, and stretching again back over into the southern plains where it's been very active, and yes, unfortunately, pretty active in the Northeast as well, where it's been very active lately with gray skies and rain. We'll see that continue towards the middle of next week. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching my June weather forecast. If you have not seen that, make sure to go watch it here. Leave a like, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below on that video as well. I will answer those. Make sure to subscribe to this channel here at Weather on the Go. We'll keep you covered. Another weather forecast video out for you tomorrow. Make sure to give it a like down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns on this video, and I'll get to those later on today. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Monday out there.